And good afternoon, Lagos, Nigeria, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. Welcome to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. We are going to be staying in Nigeria because my guest is in Nigeria. However, we are going to talk Israel-Palestine and the possibility. You heard the rumors about France and America possibly wanting to set up a base in Nigeria. So we will be talking about that as well, although the federal government has since come out to say this is not going to happen. But even then, we must still discuss it because doesn't mean it couldn't happen. They just said it's not happening. Right, so Lagos, Nigeria, wherever you're joining me from abroad, I'd like you to welcome my guest, Akintola, who is the Executive Director of the Muslim Rights Concern, commonly known as MURIC. Okay, MURIC is an Islamic human rights organization that protects Allah-driven fundamental rights of Muslims in Nigeria. MURIC is opposed to all acts of violence. Professor Akintola, welcome. Can you hear me, sir? Are you on mute? Okay, I can see you. Can you unmute Professor Akintola, please? Because I can see his mic is muted. Okay, Prof, I think you might need to unmute from your side.
Yes, I've unmuted now.
Excellent.
You are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us. So tell us, first and foremost, tell us what MURIC does. I mean, we know what you are, but what exactly do you do? Because as you can imagine, when people hear MURIC, they have all sorts of imaginations and connotations and perceptions in their head. So tell us exactly what MURIC does before we move in onwards.
Well, imagine from colonial repression in the 60s, Nigerians were still so much exposed to giving freedom to their fellow men. That colonial mentality was still there. In particular, the Muslims were the main victims in the schools, holidays, even the civil servants, Muslims who are civil servants. They couldn't go for Salah on Salah day. They had to go to work in the 60s. Gradually, they started fighting for civil liberties, and these things started happening. We got holiday for Eid al-Kabir, later holiday for Eid al-Fitr, that's the holiday, the Salah after Ramadan fast of 30 days. Today we are still struggling for liberty, for the right to use hijab in any public institution, in any place of work. Hijab is a scarf used by Muslim women on top of their heads, and a lot of Nigerians still feel they are allergic to seeing Muslim women in that shape. They don't want to see hijab. Until we started, of course, MURIC happens to be this human rights organization that fights for the Allah-given and fundamental human rights of Muslims. Wherever they are oppressed, MURIC dialogues with whoever is concerned, if it's an institution, if it's a place of work, if it's whichever way it is. MURIC starts with dialogue, and if that fails, we go public. We issue precedent and appeal to the court of public opinion to see what is happening. Why should everyone be opposing the use of an ordinary scarf on top of a girl's head? Our girls in the schools are being stopped from learning. The UN, the AU, the West African Union also, all these institutions, all these world bodies are are trying to promote the girl child education. But a lot of employers in Nigeria, some heads of educational institutions and so on, still are not favorably disposed to allowing the Muslim girl child to use scarf, to use hijab.
Right.
And they lock them out.
Okay.
They said they can't come in. And for weeks, so when dialogue fails, when going to press fails, we go to court. There are cases that are outstanding in court up till now, about 3 or 4 cases like that MURIC is pursuing, because we believe in the rule of law. We oppose violence, and we always urge our followers to eschew anything violent. Terrorism is out of our region. We condemn terrorism, and we oppose those who use that method.
Right.
Violence will not lead anybody anywhere. It doesn't get you what you want. You are fighting for A. What you get is D at the end of the day, and there are a lot of people, end up with in the bloodbath. So we always adopt these peaceful means and using legitimate, channels to pursue our grievances.
Okay, thank you. Well,
this is what MURIC also engages Nigerians in the political arena. We cannot keep silent, because we have the 220 million Nigerians or so that are here in this country. Muslims constitute more than half of this figure, and we cannot just ignore this huge amount of this huge population to suffer consequences of misgovernance. We want good governance. We talk to politicians. We encourage them. We sensitize them, and we also talk to Muslims. We try to enlighten them, particularly concerning them shunning money politics. Don't collect money from politicians before voting. Vote your conscience.
Thank you, sir. Excellent.
So these are the things MURIC does.
Well, now we've set the stage, because like I said, there's so much misconceptions out there about what MURIC does, and I'm glad, thank you for giving us that very broad explanation. So let's talk about the global war on the ground. Of course, Palestine, Gaza, genocide, war, whatever you call it. MURIC released a statement on the 12th of October, in which you were quoted as saying, considering the heavy toll on both sides, MURIC calls for an immediate ceasefire. We demand the opening of a humanitarian corridor by Israel in obedience to the United Nations call and the appeal made yesterday by the European Union. War is a monster. It makes beasts of men. So let me ask you, what's your assessment of Hamas's attack on Israel on the 7th of October last year? Give us an assessment of that, please.
My assessment, in short, is that, this is a reaction. Wherever there is an action, there must be a reaction. You cannot beat a child and stop him from crying and complain that he is crying. If you beat me, if I cannot beat you back and I cannot bite you, then I will cry out so that people will come and rescue me. So
it's a reaction to what?
Yes, it's a reaction to the persecution, continuous criminal and inhuman persecution and repression of the Palestinians by the Israeli people, by the Israeli apartheid regime. Because, history is always there. You cannot deny history. Today was born from the wombs of yesterday. The Palestinians didn't just grow up, like they grew on trees, like mango. From 1947, before 1947, Palestine has been there. But the UN brought Palestine, the UN brought Israel in 1947. And a lot of injustice occurred during that exercise, because the Palestinians owned 92% of the land of Palestine, and Israel had only 8%. But when they gave out that land, when they brought Israel, Israel was given 53% of the land, and Palestine, which owned 92%, was given just 47%. Who does that? And that's, of course, the repercussions, the ricochets are part of what we are seeing. Israel continues to expand because Israel has its hegemonic expansionism agenda, that it must occupy the whole of the land. And that is what we are seeing now. It's not even the defeat of, even if Israel is able to kill all Palestinians, it will not stop there. Israel wants to take the whole of the Middle East. And it will start with taking the land of Palestine. 472 Palestinians were living in the land that was given to Israel. And they were rendered homeless by 1947. And that denial, that deprivation led to impoverishment, led to starvation, led to homelessness. The Palestinians, Israel is perfect at one thing, the policy of apartheid. And I think we can rightly say that Israel has inherited the policy of apartheid from from apartheid South Africa, from the champions of apartheid in South Africa, the whites, who believed that, look, the blacks mean nothing. The black lives do not matter.
Okay.
And the swimming pools were only for the whites.
So is your assessment is your assessment of October 7th that the attack that Hamas inflicted on Israel, where they killed 1,300 people and took over some 250, 280 hostages. Are you saying that attack was as a result of the history that happened before October 7th?
Oh yes, that attack cannot be isolated, cannot be looked, it cannot be treated in isolation of what had been happening in the land of Palestine for since 1947. A people whose homes were being pulled down. Parents and children will be at home preparing the children for school, and then bulldozers will appear outside their homes, and the bulldozer will go ahead, just give a brief warning that if you don't come out, we will pull down the house with you. And Israel will go ahead to do that. 34,904 Palestinians were killed between 1986 and 1989 during the Intifada. That is the insurrection, because people just have this notion of hitting back wherever they are repressed. They will find a way of hitting. That's the nature of man. So the Palestinians are just human beings, and like all Homo sapiens, they have to, when you push and push and push a people, at a point in time, they get to the wall, and then they turn back and say, not again. You either give way or we all die here.
Thank you.
And that is exactly what is happening.
Thank you. So here's the thing.
Yes.
Since Hamas attacked, Israel has responded. Israel has killed almost 40,000 with several other thousands under the rubble. Some have gone missing who have not been accounted for. It is estimated that some 100,000 or so are missing. In Nigeria,
yes,
many still believe this war to be a religious war. So if I may put it to you, sir, are you by default of being a Muslim, is that why you are in supporting the Palestinians, or is there another reason?
That's impossible. Anybody who tries to raise the religious factor in this Israel-Palestine war is being just emotional, extra emotional, acrobatically emotional. I think what is happening, if people can see there are Christians in Palestine, even the Christians in Israel are protesting against what Israel is doing, because the Palestinians are not all Muslims. A large percentage of the Palestinians are also Christians, and they are being persecuted. Even the Israelis, you see them in some video clips spitting on Christian pilgrims who came from outside. The Israelis, the Jewish Zionist state, has no respect for Christianity, no respect for Islam. They are not fighting a religious war. Israelis don't recognize Christianity as a religion, and that is one fact Nigerians got to understand. It is not religion. It is about humanity. It is about freedom. It is about the need for equality, for justice, for equity. If red blood flows in the veins of black Africans when we are fighting apartheid Africa, and Nigeria played a major role. Now, I remember Nigeria in the 70s gave the black South Africans who were in the struggle, they gave the black South Africans 1 million naira and to fight for the struggle. And 1 million naira in those days meant a lot. And Nigeria also was part of the political struggle at the OAU level, and as well as at the United Nations level. Nigeria was leading the struggle, and no Nigerian of conscience will want to ignore what is happening in Palestine today. Since October 7th, when this war broke out, more than 34,904 Palestinians have been killed. 14,500 children have been killed, mercilessly killed. More than 10,000 women have died, and among them pregnant ones. The hospital at Ashifa, when they discovered mass grave containing 390 bodies buried in one place. About 8,000 people are missing around that Ashifa hospital. Over 183 women give birth without pain relief per day in Palestine today. 50,000 pregnant Palestinian women are at risk because they cannot get treatment and they are pregnant. 20,000 newborn babies are at risk also because the health facilities are just down. Israel has no respect for the Red Cross, no respect for medical doctors, medical personnel, no respect for journalists. Hundreds of these professionals have been killed.
Okay, let's go back to
drugs are not. Yes.
Let's go back to what you said about the South African apartheid and how Nigeria as a country and Nigerians as citizens, as Africans, actually stood up and defended the black South Africans' right to full emancipation, to be free of apartheid. Why then do you think the same Nigerians are not rising up for the Israeli apartheid against Palestinians?
I will say, I will attribute that to the economic hardship that Nigerians are facing. And that, you see, a lot of people have this impression that if you have your problem, your personal problem, or your national problem, you don't want to pay attention, you don't want to address other issues. But that is not the case. That should not be. Because unless you wake up at a time when others are suffering, when others are being persecuted, repressed, downpressed, the oppressor will come to you. You know what Haile Selassie said regarding silence in times like this? He said, and I will quote, I'm reading it to you.
Okay, sir.
Throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to triumph.
Indeed.
And that evil today is represented by Zionist Israel.
Okay.
Unless those who are silent today break that silence, speak up. Nigerian students in their campuses, just as American students in various universities across the United States, they have risen, and it's like a revolution. They are challenging the authorities. They are challenging government. They are asking questions from the university authorities. Yes, they want to obtain their degrees, but then they don't want to close their eyes to the oppression that is going on, the persecution, the killing, the genocide, the massive massacre that is going on day in, day out in Israel. Between yesterday and today, 60 people have been killed, 60 Palestinians in Rafah alone. Israel moved into Rafah day before yesterday, and look at the death toll. So, and it's not stopping. As we are speaking, men are falling. Pregnant women are finding ways of lying down somewhere.
Yeah.
There are women who are in forced labor right now in Israel.
If I may interrupt you, sir, because because we don't have much time. It always seems like we do, but we don't. Lagos, Nigeria, we are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Nigeria Info 99.3. We are on Twitter, Nigeria Info FM. We are on Instagram and Threads, Nigeria Info FM Lagos. You should be sending your questions or comments to WhatsApp 0809 597 5805. I will be taking calls on 0201 465 7190 if you are female, or 0700 993 993 993 as the general line. Sir, let me come back to you about this. So the majority of Western countries has prescribed Hamas as a terrorist organization. If you could tell me in a short sentence, in your opinion, is Hamas a terrorist organization? If they are not, what then is Hamas?
Hamas is protecting the people of Palestine who are under repression, who are being killed, whose houses are being demolished illegally and unconstitutionally. Contrary to, this is Israel that doesn't believe in the rule of law. Israel doesn't recognize the United Nations. More than 131 resolutions have been passed by the United Nations since 1967. And none of them have been obeyed by Israel. Unfortunately, the so-called powers have this veto power. And that is the power of injustice, the power to kill and not to be killed. The power to do whatever you like and not to be questioned.
Okay, let's talk about those.
Is telling the,
let's talk about that the people that are given the power, which, as you were just about to say, United States. So when the United States continues to support Israel, and it's not just the United States, the United States and other Western countries have continued to support. Yes, have continued to support Israel. United States is the number one, is the country that sends the most amount of arms to Israel. Germany is the number 2 country that sends ammunitions to Israel. Right? What are your thoughts then on the role of the United States in this war given the number of innocent civilians that has been killed, especially in Gaza, but of course on both sides. What would you say the United States have done, and what steps should the United States have done to make things better?
The United States of America today, I believe, has the blood of Palestinians, innocent Palestinians, on its hands. While the people of America do not seem to agree with their own government, and it is the government of America that is doing all what Israel is doing, and we believe that America should be held responsible for all the killings, all the destructions, all the bombardments that has happened in Palestine to date, from 1967 to date in particular, because America continues to fund Israel, America continues to arm Israel, knowing fully well that Israel is acting in contravention of UN resolutions. And that means America is lawless. America does not recognize the rest of the world as worthy Homo sapiens. America sees itself as a superpower that cannot be questioned. And that's why the senators, American senators, started warning ICC, the International Criminal Court, not to indict Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. And we are saying America is going to be held responsible. History does not forget. So the day America stops supporting the crimes of Israel, Israel will throw in the towel. Israel will surrender.
Okay.
Israel will stop all its criminalities if only America will stop supporting these criminal acts.
Okay. Let me.
Resolutions. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a good segue into my next question, which is the ICC, and I'm glad you mentioned the ICC. Nigeria is a signatory to the ICC. Practically every African country is a signatory to the ICC. We see so-called dictators in Africa get prosecuted at the ICC. Yet when the ICC is actually talking about issuing a warrant for Israel, as you rightly said, America and American senators are actually threatening Justice Khan. My question to you, sir, is do you think African countries, including Nigeria, should continue to be a signatory to the International Criminal Court that may not be able to actually try Israel or even issue a warrant to question Israel?
Thank you. It's not the ICC alone. I think African nations, African countries, other countries of conscience should resolve to withdraw their membership of the ICC. No African leader or any third world leader should be taken to the ICC for questioning or for trial anymore. America doesn't allow its own nationals to be taken to the ICC. And in spite of all the war crimes committed by America and Britain in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, no British or American leader or French leader has been taken to the ICC. They don't agree that their nationals should be taken to ICC. They believe they are superhumans. The rest of us are, we are not important. It is only America, France, Germany, and Britain, those superpowers. And that leads me to the Security Council, where the 5 superpowers hold the power of veto. I think this shows the challenge, the unseriousness in the United Nations. I think even the United Nations, should be dissolved. And let us, it was the League of Nations before. And now it's been since 1947 or thereabout, after the Second World War, it was named, it was called the United Nations. I don't think the United Nations has been effective. It has been a toothless bulldog all along. It listens only to the dictates of the Western powers. I think the Security Council should be dissolved. The General Assembly dissolved. Let us reorganize the UN, because it is a United Nations for injustice. That is what I will call the UN today. The third world is not getting justice from the UN. There should be no veto. Veto should be annulled. The power of veto for the superpowers should be annulled. I don't think there is any sane African who will continue to support the idea that America alone should veto what more than 141 countries resolve. It is madness, and it's like we are being told that the whole world, the earth in which we live, belongs to America. That America is God incarnate.
Okay,
this is impossible.
That's a good way. Talking of the UN has spoken up over and over again about Israel blocking them from getting humanitarian aid into Palestine. They continue to try. Now that Israel has gone into Rafah, the UN, the WHO, they've all come out to say humanitarian has pretty much stopped. So if we were to get rid of the UN, who would be doing that critical work? My question is, getting rid of the UN, would it not be throwing the baby out of the bathwater if we're to get rid of the UN because of the superpowers who have veto powers, given the amount of work that the UN has been doing during this war in regards to humanitarian aid?
If the truth be told, we should realize that it is either the UN serves the purpose for which it was created, or it doesn't serve any purpose at all.
Right.
Right now, it is serving the purpose of the capitalist comprador bourgeoisie in the global community. We cannot continue to condone that. We cannot ignore that. We are being dehumanized, not gradually, but speedily. And the earlier we know that, you see, the superpowers need the UN. And the moment they see that we call their bluff, they will sit tight. They will sit up. And we will dissolve the UN. And then there will be no Security Council, five member Security Council. Rather, they will surrender that power of veto. If they surrender the power of veto, that's okay. Then the UN states. When America attacked Iran, it did not inform the UN. America did not inform the UN before attacking Afghanistan. And it just sits down there and bluffs its way through, asking who is there to challenge us. That's what America is asking the rest of the world. And I think it's high time we told America that no, we are human beings. African life matters. African voice matters. Why should African countries sit down for a resolution, draft the resolution, and then somebody would just sit down there and say, I veto it. Just one country.
I'm coming. Okay, let's come back home because we're fast running out of time. My gosh. And the lines are going. Recently, there was news and you know, I think MURIC was part of those who wrote a letter to the National Assembly saying, please ensure that this military base will not be moved to Nigeria. Do you still believe, even though federal government have said they're not actually going to do such a thing? Do you believe our federal government? Do you believe that the federal government will not allow U.S. and French military base that have been kicked out of Niger and Burkina, etc.? They won't allow them in Nigeria, or do you think there is still a plan for them to do that?
Well, we have raised our voice. MURIC has spoken against the establishment of any foreign military base on Nigerian soil. No foreign boot should be set on Nigerian soil. We will not allow that. Nigerians will stand up, will stand against that. And that's what we are telling the federal government. Well, the federal government has debunked the rumor that it is planning to allow American and French military bases on Nigerian soil. We can give them that benefit of doubt. So we must have some faith in those who lead us.
Okay.
But having given them that benefit of doubt, we must be watchful. Nigerians must be awake. We must ensure that we don't give any room at all. We watch our government, we watch our military, we watch our security agencies. We want to ensure that America doesn't establish a base in Nigeria. It is dangerous.
Thank you, sir.
Before you know it, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Let me just come to your calls. I'm just going to answer the calls. Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Your question very quickly, please, where you're calling from.
My name is Rapuchuku.
Rapuchuku, what's your question, please?
I agree to your guest.
Okay.
Well, I sympathize with what is happening in Gaza and Israel as well. One day is going, is life passing. But my question now to your guest is this. Please, if your guest speaking now is Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, based on what happened on, I don't say that is Netanyahu, but if he is in the position of Netanyahu, with what happened on the 7th of October, the attack on Israel, killing the innocent one, the children and the female, what would he do?
Okay, thank you.
What will be his action?
Thank you. Prof, I'll let you can just make a note of that. I'll pick up a couple more calls. Hello? Hello, very quickly, name, number, and your name, where you're calling from, and your question, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Shogi.
Good afternoon.
This is the merchant man.
Yes,
the
go ahead.
question I have for your guest is, in his own terms, in as much as he has exonerated Hamas of being terrorists, I myself, I do not condone anything in the nature of apartheid regime or invasion and occupation of anyone's land. But I want him in his own language to clarify and tell us that invasion of part of Israel by Hamas, what can he call it? What is the meaning, or what in his own time, what is it?
Okay. Well, I think he's already answered that, but thank you, merchant man. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your name, where you're calling from, and your question, please.
Pastor Badamasi from Sulere.
Go ahead, Pastor.
Yes. Most Christians believe that the Bible says there's no salvation apart from Israel. And fundamentally, this is a belief of most Christians. And I can say that the whole world, kind of the Western world, they're kind of linked to this. And I want to ask the professor, why are Christians really attaching so much emotional to Israel?
Okay, thank you.
Why?
Thank you. Okay, Prof, I say the lines are going. We don't have much time. You have the first question, and I think it's a critical one. It's, if you were Netanyahu, what would you have done after Hamas attacked
Yes,
on the
yes.
7th. The second question
Yes.
is, why are Christians so attached to the Israeli cause?
Okay, that's the third one.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I go ahead?
Yes, please, sir. Go ahead. I'm going to give you 3 minutes because the lines are going crazy.
All right. Somebody asked if I am the Prime Minister of Israel.
Yes.
What would I do
Yes.
after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th? Pray I will never be Netanyahu. I will never be a man that will always stir war, that will always be the one to destroy peace. Netanyahu, watch his history. Read his history very well. When he was prime minister some years back. What did he do? Each time he comes, there will be war. Netanyahu is belligerent, and you don't pray that I, lshaq Akintola, a very gentle personality who is a lover of peace, will be like this warmonger. Netanyahu is a lover of war. He does not want peace. I cannot be Netanyahu.
Okay.
In any case, that attack on October 7th, if I am to look back at it and say, okay, if I were the one, then I would remember that I have also been the attacker, the aggressor all along, the belligerent element all along against the people of Palestine.
Okay.
Now, the chicken has come home to roost. In fact, that was what more than 70% of the world said on that day, on October 7th.
Okay, sir.
And that's exactly what it was. Now, if somebody wants me to clarify the attack on Israel on that day,
yes.
So what does it look like? I would say, you see, in military terms, you talk about repulsion. When the enemy has penetrated into your territory and you want to repel them, you want to push them back, it was a pushback. It was a repulsion because Israel had continued to eat into Palestinian territory for years. Since 1947, Israel did not stay where the UN gave it, even though the UN gave it 53% of the land and gave Palestine only 47%. Israel has taken more than 80% of its share, and it will continue to take more and more and more.
Okay, so
Palestinians.
Okay, let me just extend that then. Why don't I swap it? So let's reverse it. Given what has happened, and you've taken a position, what should Netanyahu do differently? Because saying you would never be Netanyahu doesn't quite answer the question, Prof. What should Israel do differently?
Israel or Netanyahu should go to the resolutions of the UN and listen to what the world has said. That is the rule of law. That is the position of the United Nations resolutions. To ignore 131 resolutions of the United Nations. That is the old world was talking, and Israel was bullshitting the rest of the world.
I'm afraid the language, sir.
You obey the rule of law.
Okay, sir. We can't have that language. The second. Yeah, Pastor Badamosi's question.
Pastor Badamosi was the third person
question
who asked the question.
Yes.
He's asking, he wants to know why so many Nigerians are emotionally
while so many Christians are so many Christians.
Yes, are attached to the land of Israel. It's natural. It is natural because we are these are the children of Abraham. The Muslims and the Christians. We are the Abrahamic people. And what we needed to do is to live together in peace. You see, Jerusalem is there, where Bethlehem is there, where Jesus was born, alayhi salatu wasalam, peace be unto him. And the Kudus is there, our holy mosque is there. So our sacred places are there. We can manage them with love. We can be. You see, when I visited America sometime in 2009 or thereabout, in the basement there was a mosque. On the ground floor was a church, And when they wanted to take me to the mosque, I saw that they were taking me to a church. I raised the alarm. They said, no, don't worry, we are going to the basement. The Christians are worshiping on top. If America can arrange that in a single building, Christians will have a church. In the basement, the Muslims will have a mosque. The Muslims in the second, the Christians will worship in their own in Jerusalem. There, this land belongs to all of us, and for the sake of humanity, if we treat ourselves like human beings, all of us will be able to worship, and there will be no killing, there will be no repression, there will be no persecution. But for Netanyahu to be marching with his boots into the mosque, the whole prime minister leading such a march into the sacred mosque of the Muslims, it is aggression, it is belligerence taken too far, it is madness, it is an invitation to chaos.
Okay, sir. Let me answer. I'm going to answer 2 more calls because we're closing. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name, where you're calling from, and your question, please.
I am Izedun from Surrey.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask your guest, why is he afraid of United States having a military base in Nigeria?
Would you like a naval base in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I can hear you. I'll let him answer. Thank you.
Having a military base in Nigeria will help us in intelligence.
Okay.
America is a pro-progress country that loves democracy. If they have a military base in Nigeria, are they going to overthrow our government? Are they going to overthrow our army?
Okay. I've asked you a question. I need to. The lines are going, but I think he's heard you. Thank you. Oh no, you only get one question.
Why is he so bitter about United States?
Okay.
United States have contributed a lot in the
Okay. He's heard you. The lines are going. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Hello. Oops. Hello.
Hello, Sisi.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name, where you're calling from, and your question, please?
David from Ikorodu.
Okay.
Yes, so the issue now, I overheard people saying Israel this and Israel that.
No. Only a question. Only a question. We don't have time. Only a question.
Okay. So my question is that we as Africans, what is our business in the issue of Israel and Hamas?
Excellent.
Because it is obvious, yes, it is obvious Muslim and Christian. Your guest is saying it is not like that, but it is what it is. What is our business? Because
so you think, let me just understand, you think it's a religious war?
Yes.
Okay.
And what is our business as Africans?
Thank you.
Because
Thank you. That it is not. I'm going to answer the last question first because I'm presuming it'll be short. You've only got 2 minutes to answer. So the last question in 30 seconds and the other question in a minute, if you can.
What's our business in Israel? What was our business in Africa? Humanity. It was common identity. We are human beings, and we are hearing of pregnant women, more than 300 pregnant women, more than 12,000 children being killed within 5-6 months. And you think human beings will not be moved? Anybody who is not moved by that is not a complete human being.
Okay.
And that's the reason why Nigerians should be involved.
Okay.
Should be interested.
Okay.
Somebody asked about why shouldn't we allow America to have a base? That America will do a lot of good things for Nigeria. Where has that ever happened in the world? The colonial master, the imperialist, will never do anything in the interest of any country, particularly in the interest of any third world country. They will never do anything for your own benefit. You need to design benefits for yourself, advantages for yourself. You are asking, why shouldn't we allow America to have a base? Look at Cuba. What is happening there? Is Cuba free? Look at Latin America, the whole of South America. Will they want to allow America that is at their backyard to establish its base in their own countries. And see how many coups have been engineered by America, not only America, by France. Look at what France is doing to its colonies, controlling their external reserves.
Okay, sir.
Look at
I think you've gotten the point out. I think he gets that because we're running out of time. I have a question here from Udo. A very good question. He said, please ask your guest, what does he think America wants to achieve in all the support America is giving to Israel? You have a minute.
America is supporting Israel in order to cement its expansionism, its hegemony, its control of the rest of the world. Because even America itself is under the control of Israel politically. Israel controls the American Senate, the American Congress, and the whole world knows this. America itself knows this. Biden will not have the balls to challenge Netanyahu. Netanyahu today is more powerful than Biden because Netanyahu controls more than 80% of the American lawmakers. That is what America stands for. If Biden fails to continue the support of Israel, America will be in trouble. Biden will lose the election.
Okay. Now,
so America is doing that for its own interest.
Okay.
Not that America loves Israel so much, but America must continue to watch its interest, defend its interest.
I now need you to give us in 1 minute. What do you think the way forward is, the solution to stop this war? Hamas accepted the ceasefire. Israel didn't accept the ceasefire proposal. Israel hasn't accepted it. Israel has gone into Rafah. Here we are. What do you think is the eventual solution to ensure peace in both countries? You have a minute, sir.
An Israeli official in a viral video showed the projected map of a new Israel, and it included the whole of Palestine. In fact, the whole of the Middle East is part of the expansionist program of Israel. That is the issue. So Israel will not accept any peace deal, even if all the Hamas and all the Palestinians kneel down and say Israel will surrender, or we are not fighting again. Israel will not stop the bombing. Israel is bent on taking over the whole of Palestine. But one thing I must add before we go.
Yes, sir.
No nation, no matter how powerful, can ever totally eliminate, categorically eliminate another nation, no matter how few the latter is.
Professor lshaq Akintola, the Executive Director of MURIC. Sir, you've been an absolutely wonderful guest. Thank you so very much for sharing your knowledge, your opinion, your position, and expanding our knowledge. Have a wonderful weekend, sir.
You too, ma.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, bye.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's